All right, glad to be back with y'all. I have another case review. This is the Ringke Air S case for the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Now, I want to make a statement. If you have the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra or the Google Pixel 7 Pro, which is what I'm shooting this video on with today, I would definitely, if you have one or two of these devices, I would definitely, or if you're a fan of any case maker or interested in cases, please subscribe to this channel because we are going to review a ton of cases. I have some in our video history. We added some playlists to our channel, and we're going to be doing a ton of case reviews in the future, along with some other stuff, obviously phone and tech oriented. But please subscribe because even if you don't have this S23 Ultra, say you have the S23, say you have the S23 Plus, say you have the Samsung Galaxy S22. This case, if you buy this case for the S22 Plus or S22 Ultra, it's basically going to be the same case. Now, obviously, the cutouts are going to be a little different, especially if you have like a S21 and you don't have the S21 Ultra and you don't have the S Pen. It's basically going to look the same. And we're going to review a ton of cases. So if you order it for your, let's say, S21 Ultra, right? It's basically going to look the same, obviously with some minor differences in the cutouts and a couple other things, but it's going to be the basic construction. How these cases are made is they have a basic mold, and obviously when the phone gets released, they get a review unit or design unit that they mold it to specifically meet the specs, but it's the same basic mold, just with little different variations. But looking at this case, I love this case. I've had this for a ton of my devices. I love Ringke. It's one of the case makers that we go back with, my wife and I, for years. I think the first one I ordered was 6 or 7 years ago, maybe on like the first Pixel, or it was a Galaxy phone, the S7 or Note 7, the exploding phone. I know we ordered a bunch, and I try to get one for every device I get. Now, why do I do that? Because this is, as you can tell, this is a TPU case, right? Kind of looks similar to your average TPU case, cheap case that you can find on Amazon. But what makes this company Ringke different, what makes theirs stand out from and look, it is probably a couple dollars more than a basic TPU case. However, you're going to get fine details that these cheap TPU cases are not going to hit on. And I say that because, well, let's go through them. At the very bottom, starting off at the very bottom, you get a nice big cutout. Big cutout for any basic USB Type-C charging port you put in there. In this case, it's not going to be an issue with blocking it. You got the speaker and you got the S Pen cutout. We'll give that a try later. Now, they put a lanyard cutout on either side, and that's basically for like a super, super thin, you've seen them, the lanyards, a little thin piece of kind of like a bracelet type deal, threaded bracelet. You can thread it through there and you can slip it on your wrist. So if you're walking around with it, if you're in public, at a concert, it's not going to slip and fall out of your hands. Let's see, you get nice raised sections here where these sensors are. That helps with drop protection. You have the mic cutout up top. Now, there are no air pockets in here, I noticed, which I could have sworn on the other models, the older models, they did. And I noticed they did say military grade drop protection, which I don't necessarily think it would survive a ton of high altitude. I say altitude, but maybe I don't think it would survive a 5 or 6 foot drop. It's a pretty thin case, right? It's not going to survive. It's not like a dual layer. However, did it say military grade drop protection. It doesn't say, Caseology will say on one of their cases dropped 47 times at 48 inches, which is like 4 feet. They don't state, any drop height or anything. But do I think this would survive a drop from 3 feet in your house, at the gym, in the office? Yes. On like tile floor? Yes. No, linoleum? Yes. On concrete? Maybe. I think it might. It does. I'll show you. It has some good screen protection. Has a good lip on here. Has some camera protection. But again, military grade, I don't know. It's about $15. They're about $14.99. They have this stone color, which is similar to the back of the phone. I kind of prefer the off-white instead of the all-white, because over time, it'll catch dirt, grime. It'll show little scuffs if it's all white. If you're excuse me, if you're out in the sun, it may turn a little color. So I'm glad they didn't do a all white, bright white. I'm kind of glad it's the off white, because it won't show its age as time goes on. But whoops, let me pull it back up here. But as I was saying, let me go through the colors real quick, because they do have, let's see, right here. They do have a stone white. They have a black color. They have lavender. And they have green. So they basically have a case for whatever color device that you got. Now, some of the extra, before I put it on, I do want to point this out because it is important to me, and I want to show the fine detail you get in construction you get from a company like Ringke that you're not going to get from a cheap Chinese manufacturer, where they just slap a mold on the device and they, print a gazillion of them and get them out the door. This is where you get the fine detail, because check this out. Each button here for the power, volume down, and volume up is different. And if you just look at it with the naked eye, it doesn't look much different, but it is. Check this out. The power button here is ribbed. You see that with those little grooves in there? The volume down is just naked. It's just nice and smooth. And then check this out. The power button has a little dot on there. Now, why is that important? That is important because somebody, I do want to give props to whoever at Ringke, and I know y'all are going to watch this video, and I'm very impressed because I know whoever it was in the meetings, in the boardrooms, and in the suggestion room decided to do this, because check this out. Because I run into this issue all the time. Because here's the deal. I carry two phones. I have a S23 Ultra, obviously, and I have a Google Pixel 7 Pro. Now, this is not for this S23 Ultra. This is for my Pixel 7 Pro. It's a Caseology case. But look, if I'm carrying two phones, on the S23 Ultra, the power's on the bottom, and the Pixel 7 Pro, the power button is up top. So there's been times where I'm listening to music, listening to a podcast, my phone is in my pocket, and I start getting into a conversation with somebody, or somebody, asks me a question or something. I stick my hand in my pocket and I try to turn down the volume. And sometimes I forget what phone is in what pocket. And I'll think I'll push the volume down button, and it's actually like the power button on my other phone that I'm not listening to music to or podcast to. And I'm just sitting there pushing the power button 5-6 times. And then on the S23 Ultra, I think if you push or is it the Pixel? It's one of them. If you push the power button like 7 or 8 times in a row real fast, it'll call like emergency services, like SOS, 911, something like that. I remember my phone alarm sound started to go off, and I pulled it out of my pocket and it said calling emergency services, because I was sitting there pushing the power button to this phone thinking it was this phone, or vice versa, one or the other. But that's why this is nice, because look, another case, It's just that button's the same, that button's the same, and that button's the same. So I get confused with what button is what on which phone is what, and I will push the wrong button. This is nice because now I know, oh, is it grooved? That's the power button. Oh, is it nice and smooth? And that's the volume down. Oh, does it have a little dot on there? That's the volume up. So little things like that is awesome. And I do thank you, whoever it was at Ringke, or I do appreciate it. I personally do appreciate it because that is a big issue for myself. Every day I'm pushing the wrong button, and this helps. So that's a cool little thing. Now let's put it on the device. Goes on nice and easy. Looks nice. Feels great. Mic nice and lined up on top. Nice big cutouts on the bottom. Speakers, S Pen. Let's try the S Pen. No issues there. Let's listen to the clickiness of the buttons. That sounds nice and clicky. Let's look at the lift on the back here. It's raised a decent amount for a thin case. That's a decent amount. You're not going to find many more cases that are going to have more of a raise over the sensors than this case. Because on most thin cases, it's basically flat, flush across. So the fact that they added that is nice because you can set your phone down on a countertop, on a table, and move it around, and you're not going to scratch those lenses on there. It'll even protect it from a short fall there. Now let's see if it wobbles. Okay, so it wobbles a little bit from here and here. But here and here, no. Here and here, not so much. It's just basically here and here because the sensors. I think it was, I reviewed one of their other cases, the clear one, the Fusion. And that had 4 little plastic pieces on all 4 corners that prevented it from wobbling. Now, this is not really bad. Just a tiny bit, but I mean, it's not enough to annoy you, in my opinion. Buttons have a tiny cutout. Got the mic, cameras, S Pen. Let's look at the front of the top side to see the lip. And that is a decent, it is raised just enough. Pretty good, actually. That's actually more than some other cases I've seen. It's thin cases now. It's actually raised quite a bit from some other thin cases. They have a nice cutout here for the speaker at the top, and I do not see it lifting the screen protector at all, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. So this case is screen protector friendly. So cool. Yeah, I definitely like this. I'll put a link in the description for this case. Now, we're not affiliated at all in any way, shape, or form with Ringke or with Amazon or with any of the links that we have that we post. We are simply phone lovers, case lovers, and y'all will be amazed. We have a ton of cases. If you love cases, accessories for these devices, for other devices, please subscribe to our channel because I'm going to do a ton more of case reviews for this phone, for the Pixels, and even if you don't have the specific devices I have, go ahead and subscribe if you like cases and stuff, because again, this case will basically look fairly similar to the S22 Ultra or the S21 Ultra, so it'll be a fairly similar construction and build and look and quality for all the other devices. So I do appreciate it, and stay tuned because we have a bunch more on the way. Peace.